Listen, not just today, but every day. Because there are things you keep forgetting. Things you already know but you don't remind yourself enough. And that's why you feel stuck sometimes, lost sometimes, unmotivated sometimes. Not because you don't have what it takes, but because you forget who you are. You wake up and immediately get pulled into life. Problems, pressure, expectations, comparison. And before you even think of yourself, you're already reacting, already overwhelmed, already doubting. And that's how people slowly lose themselves. Not in one big moment, but in small daily distractions, forgetting their goals, forgetting their direction, forgetting their potential. So this is your reminder. Not once, not occasionally, every day, because you need it more than you think. You need to remember that your life is not random. It's shaped by what you do daily. Your habits, your thoughts, your choices, and those small things, they don't feel important in the moment, but over time, they become everything. Because what you repeat, you become. So if you repeat doubt, you become unsure. If you repeat distraction, you become unfocused. If you repeat inconsistency, you become stuck. But if you repeat discipline, if you repeat effort, if you repeat showing up, even when it's hard, you become unstoppable. And that's the part most people ignore. They focus on big changes, big moments, big results, but they ignore the daily action that actually create those results. And that's why nothing changes, because they are waiting for something big instead of doing something small every day. But here is the truth. Your future is not built in one day. It's built daily in what you choose to do when no one is watching, when it's quiet, when it's just you and your decision. And that's why this message matters, because it's not about motivation. Motivation fades. It comes and goes. Some days you feel it, some days you don't. But discipline stays. And discipline is built through repetition, through consistency, through doing what you said you will do even when you don't feel like it. And that's what you need to remember every day. Not when it's easy, not when you are excited, but when it's hard, when you're tired, when you feel like skipping. That's when it matters most. But let's go deeper, because maybe you are not just struggling with discipline, maybe you are struggling with belief. Maybe you wake up and you don't feel like you are progressing, like you're doing things but nothing is changing, like you are trying but not moving forward. And that feeling, it can break you. It can make you question everything, your effort, your direction, your purpose. But here is something you need to understand. Progress is not always visible. Growth is not always obvious. Sometimes you are building something quietly, something that doesn't show yet, but it's there. In your habits, in your mindset, in your consistency, and one day it will show, but only if you don't stop. And that's why this reminder is daily, because stopping is easy, drifting is easy, forgetting is easy, but staying focused, staying consistent, staying disciplined, that requires effort every day. So don't rely on feeling good, don't rely on motivation, rely on your decision, your commitment, your identity, the person you are choosing to become. Because that person is built daily, not someday, not later, now. And one day you will look back at your life, not at the big moments, not at the rare wins, but at the days, the ordinary one, the quiet one, the days where nothing felt special, but you still showed up. And that's when you will understand something powerful. Your life was never built in the big moments, it was built in the small ones. The morning you got up when you didn't feel like it, the days you stayed consistent when no one is watching, the moments you choose discipline over comfort again and again. And those moments, they didn't feel important at the time. They felt normal, sometimes boring, sometimes exhausting, but they were building something you couldn't see yet, because that's how growth works. It hides, it builds quietly under the surface until one day it shows. And when it does, it looks like overnight success. It looks like everything suddenly changed. But you will know the truth. It didn't happen overnight. It happened every day in moments like this. And that's why this matters. Because every day you wake up, you have a choice to drift or to direct your life, to react or to lead, to stay the same or to grow. And most people, they don't choose, they just go through the day, following habits, following distractions, following whatever comes their way. And that's why their life stays the same. Not because they don't want more, but because they don't act daily. But you, if you are listening to this, you are different, you are aware. And awareness is powerful, because once you are aware, you can choose. And that choice is what changes everything. So don't take this lightly. Don't just listen and forget. Apply it. Live it, repeat it every single day, because repetition creates identity and the identity creates results. So become someone who shows up, not sometimes, but when it's easy, but every day, even when you are tired, even when you don't feel like it, even when nothing seems to be changing, because that's when it matters most. And here's the truth: you don't need to be perfect, you don't need to do everything, you don't need to win every day. You just need to quiet, to keep moving, to stay consistent, to show up again tomorrow and again and again. Because consistency beats intensity every time. And there is something deeper. You are not starting over day, you are building, stacking effort, stacking discipline, stacking progress. Even if it feels slow, it's adding up, it's becoming something, and one day you will feel like it. That shift, that's confidence, that's strength, that's realization, and you are no longer the same person. And that is the reward, not just the result, but the person you become. So don't waste your days. Don't treat them like they don't matter, because they do, every single one. And one day there will no more later, no more tomorrow, only what you did with the time you had. So use it, start today, continue tomorrow, repeat it every day, and remind yourself this is not just a message, this is a lifestyle, a mindset, a decision to become better daily. And if you stay consistent, if you stay disciplined, if you don't quit, there is no way you don't change your life, no way. So keep going, keep showing up, keep building, because everything you want is being created one day at a time.